Yeah.
Time.
Meeting is now streaming live on Facebook. Oh, it didn't give us the warning this time, Malcolm.
No, I think it's the recording. It's not the going live on Facebook. So Zoom does this creepy Skynet thing now, where if you're recording, it's like this meeting is being recorded. It's very disconcerting if you haven't heard it before. It's interesting. What's going on,
So what's
fellas?
up,
How are you
Facebook?
doing?
Welcome to Sunday.
Yeah.
And I was already informed, Rory, that my head is extra gleamy tonight. And I informed the other individual who was not Malcolm that I'm at my academy because in typical schizophrenic Boston fashion, the weather went from 60 to 90 with no jump in between. So I'm here because there's nice air conditioning. But that means fluorescent lights gleaming off the dome.
All right.
I'm just sweaty because it's hot.
Yeah.
I don't have it. There's no real long-term explanation. But
About 55 degrees here in drizzling rain. So
sounds like y'all.
Malcolm, I called your topic endgame preparations.
Endgame preparations. So one of the things that self-defense ostensibly deals with is dying on the best terms possible, because you don't want to die at the hands of some asshole. So you might as well die in better circumstances, I guess, or at least circumstances where you have more control. But the bottom line is you're not going to get away from it. So what we're going to talk about today is effectively a tactical bucket list. What stuff needs to be in place before you croak? Because, as Rory may get into, it can, depending on what you're doing, have an influence on how you do it. If you know that you're leaving your family in a terrible situation, completely unprepared emotionally, financially, etc., you might hesitate to do things that are worth doing. If you know that you are in the best place possible and you've done as much as you can do, I think there may be a degree to which it adds to your ability to take care of situations effectively, but it also diminishes your attachments potentially, which makes you freer. So what do you gentlemen think?
Mr. Miller, I feel like you have a lot to say on this one.
Get out a note and get ready to make a list. You definitely have to have a will in place, and you should update it. And to be fair, I need to update mine because my kids no longer need guardians. There was some stuff that I had to take care of that needs to be taken out. When I got life insurance, I wanted, what number's the right number for our number. It was enough to, that's one of our directors contacting us. I'm turning it off.
It's only one of the choice.
Yeah. Not that I'm mentioning names or initials or probably anyway. So the insurance, I got enough, and the older you get, the longer you wait, the more expensive it's going to be. But the plan was that there would be enough to pay off all of our debts, including the house, put Cammie through a complete 4-year college degree. She already was really close to being done, but just in case she needed more, and cover the living expenses, total living expenses for, I think it said at 5 years at the time what we were doing now. And she was, when I got the insurance, it was young enough she'd be okay. Now we've got enough residual income coming in that's probably unnecessary largely, but it's still there. I've never discontinued the policy, and I probably never will. So insurance, power of attorney, because you might not be lucky enough to die. You want to have someone that you trust who can act in your behalf if they need to. So durable power of attorney, guardianship for the kids, and there's some other stuff. Something way too many don't think about is that you should have something stashed away in a safety deposit box that includes your password for all the accounts and bills that you're paying, so that someone else can clean that shit up. And it's if you want to go on a little side tunnel, I've just heard about this recently. I have not researched enough to talk about it, but some group has started talking about it. In case I come up missing kit, that does things like includes the PIN to access your Where Is My Phone app, so that the police don't have to waste days getting a warrant. Just some, yeah. Anyway, it's not a bad idea.
My
right,
my
Paul,
wife
sure.
already has that, so I don't have to wait till I turn up missing. Go ahead, Paul.
I mean, not to be redundant, but most of the stuff that Rory just said, obviously, I have not done. I joke that like I'm gonna live forever. I don't know what you guys are talking about. So mine just is a list of shit that I want to accomplish. I tend to think more about like I don't know what the time is left. None of us can really know. There's a best guess based upon family history and timeline charts and tables, but what do I want to get accomplished in that time? What time do I have? What's reasonable in that amount of space and area? I have not done as much of the preparations that Mr. Miller just talked about. My bad. Still have that immortality part of my mindset, unfortunately. So, but I do have to do that. I own a business. I own properties. I have to manage a lot of that stuff. It's for the short version of that. A lot of it's very easy. I'm in Massachusetts. It all goes to the significant other anyway. There's probably a conversation to be had about like the lineage thing in the training. I'd love for this place to keep going. After I'm not here, I certainly have people qualified to do the teaching. I don't know if they have the interest to keep it going after I'm not here anymore because it's a lot of hours. So that's a whole other secondary conversation. And in that scenario, the significant other is not qualified to be the one running the place. So
yeah.
It's funny how you guys interpreted it, because I was thinking about the mental and emotional shit. Like I wasn't really thinking about the logistics as much. Now, obviously, the logistics have to do with they play a role. If you know that you're leaving your wife in the lurch, you're not gonna go peacefully into that dark night. But I was thinking more about whether or not people have lived in a way that A, they feel like they're ready to go, and B, if they have any say in it, they feel like they've got a life worth defending. Because there's a lot of like stifle.
Malcolm froze the
I
heat
froze.
got to your internet. Yeah.
Yeah, it did. But there's a lot of sort of stifled lives that it seems like if they went right now, there'd be 50 things they wish they would have done.
That's never going to go away. There's always going to be more stuff you'll want to have done. And that's why we, almost every time we sign off, it's live hard is the best advice we can give. We're trying to remind them of that anyway. We went to logistics because, it's you're immortal. Right up
pragmatic brain.
Yeah, right until the day you aren't.
Yeah.
And then the only thing that's worth caring about are the people you care about now. So how can you set them up when you can't be there to fix things? So on the emotional level, yeah, absolutely. Tell everyone that you love them. I love you guys. Tell everyone that, make sure that they know, because you don't want to die with that regret. Right. If there's some shit that you feel guilty for, go atone for it. Go fix it if you can. Just don't. I don't personally see a problem with most of that, because I really, it may matter to you in those last couple of seconds you're alive. But after that, I don't think it will. So it's one of those, for me, it's the mechanics, making sure the people I care about are taken care of to the best of my ability by remote control, because I won't be able to do anything about it. I won't be able to fix it. If I fucked it up, if I didn't do it right, I can't recover from that. So the emotional stuff, if there's something you desperately want to do, go do it.
Yeah.
Just, quit buying your lattes for a week or for a year and save up the money. You can do most things on your list. So
damn, I like my lattes though.
Got some Facebook comments real quick. So
yeah.
Marcus Lynn, it's late over there in Germany. He said, I've not been on here for some time. Malcolm and Rory swapped haircuts. Eric Shaver said it feels like the topic was specifically tailored for him. Very timely. Stefan, hey guys. And then Marcus Lynn wrote, that's probably the biggest dichotomy. I love my kids so much that I can't go, but I also try to care as best as possible to make sure I did everything to be able to go.
One of the things that may have triggered this is Malcolm, I had a conversation a long time ago, and at one point in my career, I realized I was starting to hesitate. And someone pointed out it was because I had kids, and suddenly, other lives would be affected if something bad happened. And that's when I started consciously thinking about insurance and wills. But it really eased up when the kids, and it was fairly young. Both my kids were good people very early in their own distinct people. About the ages of 8 and 10, I just was comfortable that they didn't need me anymore. Love to have a father. I love being their father, but if something horrible did happen to me, they'd get over it. They were strong enough. And that's part of the having minimum unfinished business, telling the people you love them. I was raised in the house where getting my dad to say that was like pulling teeth. That's whatever problems we have, that's not a problem that we have this generation of my family.
Yeah, I was thinking about similar stuff, because the unfinished business part, unless you really just kind of stop living, and there's some people who do, they hit retirement and then they just stop. And they just kind of just going through the motions.
Is that a jab at Rory? Are you jabbing at Rory then?
My jabs are much more direct. I don't know why you think I would need to be sneaky and like subtly poke.
Subtle, but there you are. All right.
No, sometimes people just, or the gear shift into another stage of life is difficult, right? And so you get people who kind of end up in this limbo, and even relatively young people end up there a decent portion of the time, where people just end up treading water. And so that idea that this time is finite, and that if you're going to spend all this time contending with the possibility of sudden, unexpected, violent death, you should probably consider what you're doing in life and whether or not that's what you want written on your tombstone. Do you want didn't tell his son how special the kid was because he wanted him to be tougher written on your tombstone? Are you ready for them to say that at your funeral? If the answer is no, maybe take one day off from going to the range and shooting at paper, and take somebody you love to go, I don't know, do whatever else.
Go to the range and shoot holes in paper, because that's fun too.
That works too. That works too. Go assassinate some 8x11. What do you guys think about? What do you guys think about the unfinished business piece as it pertains to legacy? Is that something that, I know, Paul, this is more a factor for you because you're talking about Metro West going on after you're gone. But is that even really something that's worth thinking about, or is it just one of those things that's completely out of control? Because I wonder sometimes about if the guy who's famous and has the legacy was around to see his legacy, would he like it?
Well, there's certainly becoming comfortable with the idea that, Rory said, you're not going to get to play by remote control, right? You don't get to pull strings when you're not there anymore. Pretending for a second that we have some ability to see what happens after we're gone. Doing the things that you can do, if you care about such things, right? Mm-hmm. Doing the things that you can do today to establish a base, right? One of my educations coming up in the martial arts was, you're just another page in the book. This book started long before you were here. And if you do things right, if you're an instructor, the book should continue long after you're gone. You should inspire that in others, and that's probably the best thing you can ever do. That supersedes this physical location. I mean, certainly there's like a business aspect to think about, et cetera, et cetera. But, my hope is, I have students, they go to military, they train there, they go to college, they train there, they go wherever, and they continue to train, and they take, if that's the legacy, then cool. That's a job well done.
Rory, what about you? What do you want your legacy to be, if anything?
I don't. I want it, and we've talked about this a million times. This is all happening basically because of Tammy. It's something and occasionally I go through and I find the old essays of why there will never be a Chiron organization, and I still think that I was pretty well reasoned.
You were. We just ignored it. That's all.
And it's if it's working for people, I'm okay with it. But it's that whole kill the Buddha has to be done actively. You have to kill it. If the Buddha commits suicide, it doesn't have the same weight. But if I could, but if I could kind of do that to the legacy, if I could just remove the person from it and just let the information go forward, that would be cool with me. So if there is a legacy, there are some things that I am curiously proud of in the sense that they tickle me. It's like inventing words. It's within our context, like monkey dance as a word didn't exist, does now. It's so that's the kind of thing that it's like, okay, that's kind of cool. I did that. Yeah, that's
Adding to the lexicon.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make Rory awkward. Your legacy might have been maturing the field because there are a bunch of people who have adjusted after a certain book came out and weren't talking about certain shit. And now they are. I'm not saying it's just you, but it did happen.
You know, because if Mark hadn't written his books or Peyton hadn't written his book,
yeah,
you know, it's the first time I read in a book that martial arts and self-defense weren't the same thing. It was a big slap upside the head. So to that extent, I'm just carrying that on. It's not, and that's another thing. There's so little that's unique. This idea of focusing on people.
Oh, time.
Like, all right. Cool. Yeah,
sorry, Facebook.
Sorry, but yeah, we gotta cut it off. Paul, do you want to address the last comments? Were there any more, or are we good?
Real quick, Marcus had 2 long ones. I'll try to make them quick. Marcus, and you got to understand that even if you did everything, you're still around, even if you're gone. But the selfish part is the selfish part in us stops from really grasping that. And then Marcus also wrote, I think this was at me, the legacy thing also has an emotional component. If you're taking that job serious, aren't you connected to your students like you are to your kids? I mean, you have the same intentions towards them. And yeah, I joke all the time. I do not like the father figure in the martial arts. It's very overdone. I do joke many times that I get very proud of my students are better at X rank than I was, which is, I joke to myself like, fuck, that's what my dad used to say. Shit, I don't want to be, God damn it. But they're legit better than I was when I was at that same rank. So something went right, I guess, in some way, shape, or form. And then Lindemann, Weibert wrote, sometimes boundaries need to be crossed in order to create a new platform. And then Peyton Quing, most revealing part was chapter 1 about avoidance being a skill too. So, Cool. We got to switch over, and we got a whole bunch of people in the waiting room.
Well, folks, we'll see you next time. This has been your tactical bucket list. Go get it done. Kidding. We'll see you guys later. Patrons will be in a sec. Bye.
Bye, guys.